Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this evening's live stream from Propulsion Swimming. I'm your host, Scott, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Dan. How you doing?
I'm very well. How's you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to have racing back. It's been a month.
It's been a month. We're at the same pool again, so it's quite exciting, isn't it? But yes, it's. I'm excited about this one, actually. Yeah, hopefully the times will be quicker because they're another month into their training cycle. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're looking at some good swims and competitive swims as well, actually.
Yeah, so for tonight's kind of live stream, what we're planning on doing is giving you guys an alternative commentary to the British Swimming live feed, which you can find in the description of our live feed. We don't have permission to use this stream of the actual swimming competition within our stream. So we kind of suggest that you play us alongside and we'll give you our live reactions. We have a massive database of kind of swimmers and times next to us. We've done the research and we should be good to go.
Well, we've been spending quite a lot of time on this spreadsheet now, haven't we? So I don't want to. We don't want to get anything wrong with PBs or British records if they end up going. So we want to try and get everything right because yet again this morning when I was watching the swim in the commentator, did get some little errors. And I thought, it's a good thing we're doing this now, isn't it? So yeah,
it is kind of why we set this up. So if anyone doesn't know yet about propulsion swimming, what we aim to do is we are aiming to give British swimming a bit more publicity, a platform for it to grow and to be shouted about. We put a lot of time and effort into our podcast, our YouTube channel. We have great guests on there who are active British swimmers, but also ones who are age group and community swimmers as well. So this kind of live stream is kind of feeds into that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically just going to repeat what you said. We try and cater not just the elite like we're doing now, but we try and cater to everyone, whether it's triathletes trying to do the swimming phase or trying to improve their swimming leg of the triathlon, open water swimmers, charity swimmers, everyone. We just want to try and promote everything to do with swimming. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, and this live stream kind of goes nicely into that.
It does.
So tonight's racing, there are big names back in the water. What have we got to look forward to? What are the events on the program to start with?
What are the events? Well, I think the first race we've got the 400 free.
Yeah, both male and female.
Both male and female, starting with the para swimmers as well. And then it goes into the 50 meters backstroke for the women, men's 200 backstroke, women's 200 butterfly, men's 100 fly, women's 200 breaststroke, men's 100 breaststroke, and then we're into the 50s for both genders at the end as well.
50 freestyle, yeah.
53,
so what are the races to look out for? Because you did the live tweeting this morning of the heats. What kind of stood out to you as the standout swimmers or kind of just races that we need to pay attention to this evening?
I think the most obvious one that stood out was Luke Greenbank. He swam, I can't remember the time exactly now, but it was 155 and he was 0.11 off the British record that James Goddard set back in 2010 it was.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed he actually breaks that record. So that'll be one to look out for. Also watch his underwater work. I'm going to talk about that when he actually races because, geez, he blew away the field this morning. The other one, another swim to watch out for was Emily Large, who did a really good 200 fly this morning.
Yeah, you were impressed, weren't you?
Yeah, she's actually entered into the final fastest ahead of Laura Stevens, which is hard to do because Laura's a very strong 200 flyer. And then we're ending up quite strongly, I feel, which is where you'd probably take over on the 53. And we've got Ben Proud back in the water against Matt Richards and Jacob Whittle, Jacob Peters. It's pretty stacked.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Ben Proud in the water again. And this morning's time was good. There's room for improvement, but it's good to see he's still the fastest in Britain because he's kind of been under the radar for the past few years. But when it gets to Tokyo, I think he is a genuine medal contender for that 50 meters freestyle. I think people forget that out of kind of the active swimmers right now in the world, he is the second fastest behind Caleb Dressel.
Yes, he is. And I think a lot of people, like you say, kind of forget that. I can't remember the meet he did it, but he's gone.
The Europeans?
Was it Europeans? I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I think he's fourth all time.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
53. So on his best day, he will give anyone a run for his money. And of course, in a 53, it takes one slip up for any swimmer, and then he just overtakes that person. So you never know. So yes, he's got a great chance for a medal at Tokyo.
And then elsewhere, we have kind of the three big guns in the 100 meters breaststroke in the water with your Adam Peaty, your James Wilby, and then in the
Ross Murdoch as well.
Ross
Yeah.
Murdoch, there you go. That's the name I was missing. And then the 100 meters butterfly is just stacked.
Oh, I mean, if you want to name the biggest names in British swimming, they are in that race.
Yeah,
Your Jimmy Gay,
Matt Lixfield,
yeah.
Jimmy Guy, Duncan Scott's back in the water. This event it looks like kind of a warm-up event for him for the 200 meters freestyle later on this weekend.
I would have thought so. I mean, he went 53 this morning, which for a freestyle or IM swimmer is pretty good going. I mean, I'd be pretty happy with a 53 for a 100 fly any day. So yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to win. Maybe he will, but I do expect Jimmy Guy to take that from the front actually and just hold his pace throughout the race.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So one thing to note from today's event compared to the last Manchester meet is that there is no break in this evening session. It runs straight through to 7 p.m, which means we aren't going to have that pause in the middle where we answer your questions, where we do a Q&A in the live chat. So at any point during this live stream that we're putting on, if you just leave your comments in the chat, and me and Dan will stick around for 10-15 minutes afterwards and basically go through all the comments. And if you're still here having a chat with us, we'll stay chatting to you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, we love the interaction. That's the whole idea of doing this live stream, is to create some sort of community. And the questions can range from anything, who we think is going to do well at Tokyo to who's doing well at this competition. You know, it could be anything, something to do with swimming technique. Honestly, anything. Ask away. And like Scott said, we'll be on there for 5, 10, even 15 minutes at the end to answer any questions that you guys will have.
Yeah. So the first race is due on poolside in 2 minutes time.
Well, the officials are walking out now. So
officials are walking out.
Yeah.
So, and it's the 400 meters freestyle for the para swimmers. Do you want to do some explaining for the classifications? Because we did get briefed in our podcast by Jack Bridge about this, a former Olympian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though I did sort of know, but now I've sort of got clarification from Jack that I was kind of correct, that 1,000 points is effectively the world record, and the closer you are to that record, that's the more points you get, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So at meets like this, when there isn't a full field of one classification for a para swimmer, what it's done is it's called mixed classification. So an S7 will race against an S14, but however close that person gets to their classification's world record, that's the points that they're given, and that's how the standings are worked out.
That's correct.
On points rather than the exact time. So you may see a swimmer come in kind of 10 seconds after everyone else, but in comparison to their world record that they've got to get close to, they might be the closest and they might actually win.
I mean, in this race you're about to see, Ellie Simmons is in the race, and she's going to finish near enough last, but because of her category and how close she is to the world record, she may actually win the race overall. Just because she's closer to her classification's world record. So just because she finishes last or close to last in the race doesn't mean that that's her position.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And this kind of happens for everywhere other than the Olympics and World Championships.
Well, yeah,
that's understanding.
I believe so. That's because there's more of a field of athletes, and then there's more S13s, for example, to fill the whole pool. And of course, every country's involved. Whereas we don't have 8 swimmers in each category for each race. So it's hard to do only at the big major international meets like the Paralympics.
Yeah. But on the racing agenda tonight, we do have a bit of a larger field, don't we?
Well, I've overheard the commentator say this morning that we've got 30% more swimmers
than the Manchester International.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. We've got a lot more swimmers from Stirling, so we've got a lot more of a
Edinburgh.
Scotland contingent. Yeah. And I think most of the swimmers that swam last month are here as well, which is quite good. Yeah. I mean, especially in this country, racing every month, I suppose, is quite good going. So yeah. So they're walking out now. Here we go.
You're excited for the first race of the day?
I know. Well, yes, I am actually. Not gonna lie to you.
It's a nice way to spend a Friday evening watching some swimming.
Yes, yeah. So in this race, then you've got 3 S6s in Grace Harvey, Maisie Summers Newton. My God, I can't speak.
You'll get that.
And Ellie Simmons as well. S13 and Katie Crowhurst. S9 and Tony Shaw. And then an S10 is Zara Maluli.
You got there. Well done.
I know. God, I'd say what those names aren't like they're easy to say, and yet I baffled all through that.
You'll get there. You'll get there. We're just getting into the swing of it. It's been the first time in a month.
I had that feeling from the heats this morning, actually, that some of the swims they look like they're trying to get the cobwebs off a little bit. So hopefully it picks up tomorrow and the Sunday as well. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
Now, you said at the start that we were kind of expecting some faster times than Manchester. Now, I think it could go kind of one of two ways. They could go faster because they've now had a bit more racing. But you think the Manchester meet was technically the first time they've been racing long course for, it was close to like 11 months. So
like
I thought they might be more enthusiastic and over the top at that meet. Whereas this meet might be a little bit more, you've got that first swim under your belt.
I suppose I can see where you're coming from, and it is. I think it's flip a coin, quite frankly. It's so
some
difficult.
swimmers will go one way and some will go the other.
Well, some swimmers have hit PBs. You were saying Matt Richards hit a PB in the 53. 53
very nice one,
earlier. Yeah. Jordan Catchpole was very close to his PB as well. So, and then there's other swimmers who are still 5, 6, 7 seconds away from. So they could be in a hard cycle. I would probably suggest that. Well, yeah, they should be in a hard cycle really. With trials being a month away, they should probably be beginning their taper around about now. I would have thought, 4 weeks
trials?
out for trials. Yeah, I mean that's if they want to taper. Swimmers like Adam Peaty.
Yeah, we'll get onto that because there's some
Luke
swimmers
Greenbank
at this meet who don't need to taper whatsoever.
No, not at all.
But it does look like they kind of, or at least Luke Greenbank, it looks like he has.
Well, I mean, he's swimming. We'll get onto him when he races, but he's the stand-up swimmer right now. But yeah.
Okay. So the 400 freestyles underway, first race in the water. Who are the people, who's to pay attention to in this race?
Well, Zara Maluli, I believe, is the British record holder for this race.
Yeah.
So she should be the one taken out, which it looks like she is, along with Kate. Is that Katie Crowhurst in lane?
I think that
is that right? I can't remember now.
No, it looks like that's lane 4.
My screen's all blurry, which doesn't actually help me.
Professional as ever here, Dan.
I've always got Wi-Fi issues. It's terrible.
No, it looks like lane 4 and 5 have taken it out strong.
Yes, yeah. And that's pretty much expected. But we kind of need to remember that. So these swimmers in the water have won international medals all over the place. I mean, if you go down...
Tony Shaw won silver in the 400 meters freestyle. So she is kind of pedigree in this event. And then Ellie Simmons herself, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you can go down the list and each of them have won an international medal. I mean, you've got silvers and bronzes and golds all over the place. So the standard is as high as it could be, quite frankly. So, I mean...
And it's actually great to see 6 swimmers in the water doing a 400 at a meet kind of this small.
Well, that was the thing we were kind of talking about in the first one, where it was such a shame that one swimmer or 2 swimmers were in one race. But now we've actually near enough filled this pool. It just looks as though it's more official, more competitive. So it's a good thing. And the 30% has obviously come from the para swimmers by the look of things then.
And the Sterling lot. I'm struggling here because the British feed doesn't have a live clock going.
Oh,
so
you should have.
It's really hard to see how fast they're going until the split comes up in the top right-hand corner.
Oh, you should have seen it this morning. The swimmers dived in and then the clock started on the screen. So it looks as though, because I was watching Luke Greenbank's race and it looked like he touched the wall in 1:52, and I thought, oh my God, but it's like 2 or 3 seconds out.
So, maybe that's why they haven't even got the clock this evening, because it's not quite in time.
I mean, it'd be handy if they had a graphic. That would be quite good. Because they do have the splits coming up in the corner now, which is handy.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So we're past the halfway mark.
Yeah. Well, as expected, Zara Maluli's taken it out because this is one of her favourite events. I would have thought, being the British record holder. Tony Shaw trying to stay with her though. Tony Shaw is an S9 swimmer, so it's one category below Zara. So you do kind of expect the times to be slightly further apart because of the severity of the disability. But
Yeah.
I think she's actually swimming really well, looking quite comfortable, I'd say, as well, for
So
both of them.
you did a 400 meters freestyle, turning at the 300 mark. Is this where you would have started to kick?
For me, I tried to, as best as I could, negative split.
Okay.
So I actually tried to build up the stroke rates on the third 100. And then the legs really kick in with 150 to go.
Okay.
That was what I was sort of, that's the tactic I had, to try and get through the first 200 fast but easy. I think we said this before, fast but easy, and then really build it in for the second half. Because of course Ian Thorpe was my sort of role model, and that's the way he swam it. And honestly, he's still really the fastest 400 swimmer ever, kind of, so that's the way it is in my head.
There's a bit of distaste there for Biederman, isn't there, that he got rid of that world record for you?
I think a lot of the swimming world were actually pretty disappointed by that, because of course his times were only good because of the suits. I mean, you could argue that Thorpe wore his shark fin suit, or whatever you want to call it, but it wasn't the same technology, as the ones in 2009. But
okay, so we're approaching the last 5 meters of this 400 meters. Sarah Malouli's time this morning was a 4:43. She's just gone a 4:41. So a nice steady improvement.
Yeah, I mean, her British record is 4:34. So if you look at it from that front, she might be slightly disappointed, but faster than this morning. So you can't ask for too much more, I'd say. Again, depends where she is on her training cycle.
And then Tony Shaw again with a 4 second faster than this morning. At this point, doing a meet kind of before trials and when you're not fully tapered, what I'd look for is just an improvement in the rounds of how fast you're swimming.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you go through any sort of competition in any sport, I suppose. If you take the Football World Cup, for example, you hope to get better as the rounds go through. Same with darts, snooker, whatever you want to pick. And swimming's no different, I suppose.
Katie Crowhurst has just done exactly what we said, improved on this morning's time, as has Ellie Simmons. Everyone has. There we go.
Everyone has. So everyone's improved from this morning, but like I was saying earlier, they are slightly off their best times that they've ever done. But there could be multiple reasons for this.
I was going to say, it's all April is the target date for most of these.
Yeah, I mean,
this meet is kind of refining your racing skills rather than your time. I think if you're doing really well, if you're hitting PBs, but again, it's not really expected.
No, not right now, especially when it's only the second race you've done in a year. There's a very interesting video that we watched on Michael Andrew, who is a sprint specialist, and he wasn't expecting. He doesn't even look at his time. The only thing he was looking at was his stroke count and his stroke rate. And they, of course, America have the fancy dancy stuff, so they've got all these apps and stuff to tell him. And his only aim for one of the races was to just go one stroke quicker. Or no, sorry, one stroke more on the final 50 of 100 breaststroke, I think it was. He did that, and he was happy with it. He didn't even look at the time. And that's probably what some of these elite swimmers should be doing.
Well, I hope they are. I mean, he got that information. USA Swimming kind of gave that to him. He didn't have to work it out. So for anyone who's interested, just have a search on YouTube for Michael Andrews' vlog. And it's really interesting in the fact that, like Dan said, the way he's looking at his races, he breaks down really quickly in between heats and finals and compares it to a meet in 2020 when he was going really well. And you kind of understand the thinking of an elite athlete. If there's any younger swimmers watching this live stream, I would go over there and have a look at him and Cody Miller as well. Cody Miller's one of the best at showing off kind of his training sets.
I think it's good for young coaches as well who are trying to learn their way in the game, and how important stroke rate, stroke count actually is in a race. It's not just about efforts. So you do, I don't know, 85% on the first half and then 100% on the way back. It's not just that. It's so many different elements. That's why swimming has now become so technical. And I think I remember Molly Renshaw talking about Dave Hemmings as well. He's so technical, such a technical coach. And I think Jazz Carlin, when we spoke to her, she said that she's really quite surprised how swimmers perceive coaches now, where it used to be just plowing up and down, whereas now it's so intricate, these little details that you need to put in, turns and etc., like we always bang on about. So it's good that the swimming has moved on, really.
So next 400 free, about to get into the water. Who do we have, Dan? Go down the start list.
So in lane 1, we've got Betsy Wizard. Lane 2, Rachel Anderson. Lane 3, Tamarin Van Selm. Lane 4, Holly Hibbert. Lane 5, Leah Crisp. Lane 6, Mia Slevin. 7 is Freya Colbert. And in lane 8 is Michaela Glenister.
Now, on paper, going off the times this morning, it looks like a fairly even heat. But in reality, Holly Hibbert is the class of the field here.
Yes, well, she's the headline act, if you like. She took it out hard this morning, and I don't know, one of those confusing ones, a bit like last time we did this. I wasn't sure with Jimmy Guy whether he died or slowed down.
Right.
And Holly looks the kind of same. She'll take it out fast. Oh, she has already taken it out fast again, and then she'll just hold pace. So I don't know if, again, she's playing with tactics, whether, because 400 isn't really supposed to be taken out fast. A bit like a 200 fly, otherwise you will suffer at the end. But maybe she's playing around it. She's just seeing how fast she can go before she hits that pain barrier. It's all trial and error at the moment, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that.
And I mean, when your PB is a good, 7 seconds faster than everyone else in the field, now is the chance to play around with these things before you go to trials, before you hopefully go to the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, well, positionings aren't important for this race. I mean, I haven't even told you who's won these races, who's won gold or British champion, or whatever. I'm unaware. I'm just looking at these times and sort of comparing where they should be or where they are in the season or the cycle.
It's a weird concept that actually that you're thinking about the times, because the San Antonio meet, we'll talk about it quite a lot over this weekend. That's just happened in America, the TYR series.
Yeah.
They were focused on who was winning rather than times. And because all of the times were actually atrocious.
They weren't great. I mean, the biggest talking point for me was that Caleb Dressel didn't make a single final, or single A final anyway.
I don't think so, no. I mean, I'm just incredible. Stand corrected on that, but on the 100 free, it was him and Nathan Adrian in the B final.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're literally just concentrating on race skills. They weren't bothered about times whatsoever. So it's a mindset over in America that's slightly different. You've just said you're focusing on where they are in their cycle, their times. Maybe it is more about winning these races.
I mean, quite possibly, but at the same time, from, let's say, Holly Hibbert's position now, she's not really trying to win the race because
she's got no other race.
She's already won it. So she would be, if I were her, be working on the stroke counts and maybe the splits in between races, in between hundreds and lengths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, you've got to have a play around with these tactics, especially for a 400, because there are a few tactics you can play around with. You can go to your legs slightly earlier, you can go slightly later. So there's a few things to look at.
Everywhere else in the pool, though, does look like a fairly even race.
Yeah, actually. I mean, the 400 free is quite a competitive event. I wouldn't say it's our strongest event because I don't think we've, apart from Becky Adlington, and Joe Jackson.
And Jazz.
Carlin. And Jazz, of course, yeah. Also, we have had a few, actually, yeah. Now I've got to think of it.
Yeah. Stop talking, Dan.
Yeah. But it's good that we have role models in that sort of distance for these swimmers to look up to. And I think we need to remember that some of the swimmers in the pool they're pretty young. I mean, 17, 18 years old. Years old. God, my God.
I'm just going to leave you to ramble all night. It's quite funny watching.
Is that 300 marks? We've got another 100 to go.
Yeah.
So now you should be definitely using the legs. I mean, you should not be holding back at any stage here. I always find that for the last 50 meters, you're going to find some sort of adrenaline.
Okay.
So you kind of come off that wall. You might feel as though you've got nothing left, but because you know it's the last length and you know you're about to stop and rest in the next 30 seconds, let's say, you do find a little bit more of a boost in you. I don't know if it's spiritual, maybe. I don't know. But it's, you do find
I'm letting you do the talking on this one because I have never raced a 400 free or never wanted to race a 400 free.
I wouldn't say it's comfortable. You get bored, do you?
Yeah.
I think this is where, thinking about the tactics would be quite handy because it takes your mind off it a little bit. I never thought of it as a 1 400. I always thought of it as a 2 200s. That's the sort of way I sort of did it. Other swimmers do it as 850s. Other people do it as 4 100s. However you want to work it. But Holly comes into the finish. What's the time?
4:12.
4:12.
Not bad. 7 seconds off a PB though.
5 seconds quicker than this morning. I mean, would I?
It's hard when you're that far ahead. It really is to even think about times.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying
Everyone
to.
else is kind of PB +2, I would say, in the field.
Leah Chris was +4. Yeah, I mean,
It's hard because we spoke to Jazz, and 400 swimmers, you're not racing every week. That's not your focus. Your focus is more hard training blocks. So a lot of these swimmers will probably, the taper won't really have taken quite hold yet, I wouldn't have thought.
well, for the distance swimmers, they shouldn't be in any sort of taper. Sprinters actually need a longer taper than distance swimmers. Because the sprinters need that fast twitch. They need this, it's called ATP PC, that the adrenaline sort of side of it. They need all of that to recover. And of course, they've got the bigger muscles, and they need all of that blood to get to the muscles to fully get rid of lactic, etc., etc. Whereas the distance swimmers are more slight, and the muscle isn't as big. And of course, they're more trained for endurance, so the recovery is quicker. So you don't have to taper as much. So I would have thought they'd still be going for maybe another week of hard swimming.
And then what, 2 weeks till trials? And then after trials, would you go back into a hard training block? Because the Olympics is quite a way away from then.
Yeah, when is Olympics? August, is it? No, sorry, July.
July, I believe.
So it's another 3 months away. So I would probably do another sort of stint of maybe a month of hard work. Yeah, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'd get a bit stale. If you just do easy until another 3 months of just easy and drills, you're not, nothing is sort of snapping. You're not sort of shocking the body as such. It's a bit like having a cheat day, really, when you're on your diets. So if you just constantly have a diet, then the body doesn't sort of adjust, if that makes sense. Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah. Right, so we're into the men's 400 free now.
We are.
Let me load it up. And we've got the men's.
So we have 4 different categories here, don't we? So we're not expecting too much of a close race.
Well, you say that. The times from this morning were actually, I mean, the first 3 were only split by 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You have Michael Jones, who went just under 5 minutes, but of course he's an S7 swimmer, so the more...
Well, there are some close PBs on paper as well, aren't there?
Yeah. I mean, Dylan Broom was actually within a second, I think, if I remember right, or just over a second.
Just over.
Yeah. So, I mean, fingers crossed he does his part and hits a lifetime best here, which would be pretty nice. And the good thing is that he has these other swimmers to race against. Oliver Carter is who's one who didn't swim last time. So yes, but it should be a good race. Yeah. Okay. But of course, there's only 4 swimmers in the water, so it's slightly difficult for the outside lanes, I suppose, but it's no different from lane 1 or lane 8 when you're doing it normally. Michael Jones is classed as an S7 swimmer, but in the IM, he's classed as SM8 swimmer. So they kind of do change a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
For the certain strokes. So, for example...
A lot of the time it's breaststroke, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for example, I was going to use Ellie Chalice, who's normally an S3 swimmer, but for breaststroke, she's an SB2 swimmer. So it does kind of change because, of course, it's different bodily functions or body movements, rather, for the different strokes. And, of course, breaststroke is very much a leg-orientated stroke. That's the reason why that she's in a more severe category, if you want to call it that. I don't know what to call it. More severe. We'll stick with it.
If anyone knows differently, comment in the section.
Yes, yeah.
So you've done some research into each of the categories, haven't you?
I have done. Yes, I've written.
Would you like to go through it for the swimmers in the water?
So who should we start with? Do you want to start with S7 for Michael Jones?
Yeah, go for it.
So Michael Jones's category in the S7 is limited leg function, which kind of it could involve missing a leg or missing little parts of both legs, usually sort of below the knee.
Right.
So he's effectively doing a lot of pull. Is pretty much what it is.
And he is the reigning para champion 400 freestyle. So this is his Olympic event.
This is his event, and that's the reason why, because he is on a lower classification. He's actually closer to the guys in the higher ones, if you like.
Yeah.
He's actually very good. And of course, if you have a leg missing or both sort of parts of your leg or feet, it does affect your balance. So, I mean, of course, I can't speak on experience, and nor can you, because we have no idea. But
nope.
I'm led to assume it affects your balance quite a lot, and it does take a lot of getting used to as well.
Yeah. Now, for the para trials that are coming up just before the British selection meet in April, I think they're April the 8th. We are going to cover those exclusively here on the live stream, and we are going to have several live guests with us to help us with our para commentary because they are a lot more in the know than us.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got one lined up already.
Yeah.
And then it'd be nice if we had multiple names, actually. We will be reaching out to some of these people fairly soon, I suppose, because, of course, it's only, 4 weeks away. So, yeah we got to...
But they will be joining us on the live feed to give their kind of expert knowledge. And,
yes, yeah.
And, of course, everyone can put a question and answer to them as well.
Of course they can, yeah, because there's some questions that we just won't have the answer to. So, of course, if we can get an international para swimmer in to answer these questions, then absolutely perfect, don't you think?
Yeah. So that's S7 done. Why don't you go on to S9?
S9 for Jonathan Booth, right?
3. Yeah.
Yeah. So S9 is a severe weakness in one leg. So this is the category that Holly Hines has just gone up to as well.
Okay.
Because there was a reclassification. I can't remember the year now. I think it was
2016.
Yeah, I think it was more close to 2018, or was it 16? I can't remember, but it's a whole sort of rejig. So S9 is a severe weakness in one leg, so it can include an amputee, it can include cerebral palsy. I mean, cerebral palsy comes in many different sort of factors and ways, and so I mean, you can have an S3 who's got very severe cerebral palsy, and it goes all the way up through to S9 or S10. That cerebral palsy can still be a factor. So it depends how bad it is. So that's S9 for Jonathan Booth. If we move up to S10, who's that? Oliver Carter, of course. So it's a weakness affecting the legs. So this could be missing a foot. So they're all very, very similar. The S8, 9, and 10 are all very similar. It just depends how bad the disability is.
Yeah, exactly. And then S14, is that visual impairment, if I remember correctly?
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
no,
I tried.
No. Nearly. Intellectual impairment.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it S11 to S14 is some sort of impairment?
Well, they're all impaired, but S11, 12, and 13 is a visual impairment, yeah.
Right,
and then 14 is intellectual impairment, yeah.
Great
and
stuff.
Then anything under S10 or S10 and under is physical impairment.
Yeah, so we're on the last 50, I believe.
Is that right?
This is really hard without a clock.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's so small in the corner as well, because I got it on my little tiny phone.
But no, last 50, and it looks like a close race.
Yeah, Dylan Bruno,
he's going what time they're going to hit, but we won't know until they get to the wall. It's
a good race for seconds. See how they're using their legs now? Really quite quickly. They've saved a lot for the end, which is great. So Dylan Broom, his PB is 4:24.64, 4:26,
so slightly slower than this morning.
Slightly off.
And then the two other boys have both gone faster than this morning. Jonathan Booth, a lot more faster. Wow,
your grammar's
a lot faster than this morning by 2 seconds.
It's infectious. I was struggling, and now you've got it as well. Terrible.
Yeah. And then Michael Jones coming in now,
4:48. So he's not a million miles away from his PB there, 3 seconds off.
And as you can see by the points to the right-hand side of their time, he has actually won that race because he is closer to the world record. Yeah.
And that kind of proves our point where you can come last effectively by touching the wall last, but actually he's actually come out on top. And there you go. Then when you see the results there, even though his time is slower, he has won.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the explanation that Dan was giving earlier about how the point system works. Yeah. And in meets where it's this sort of size, where there's not so many classified swimmers, this would basically be the way that gold medals and silver medals and bronze medals are handed out. Not that we get to see any medal ceremonies because it's not sanitary.
Yeah. I mean, it's good that they're still doing the procedures, even though we've got dates that were coming out, or people are allowed back in the pool 12th of April, even though over 18s are still not allowed in swimming clubs, but they're allowed in public pools.
Let's not start on that. We could talk all night long about how we feel about that one.
Baffling to me, but anyway, I suppose there's got to be some rule. I think it's wrong, but it's the rule anyway.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
And now we have our final 400 meters freestyle of the evening. Now, Dan Jervis looked mighty impressive this morning.
He does, yeah.
But I still love Tom Dean.
Do you reckon? I don't think
he swam well within himself this morning. His PB is right up there with Dan Jervis.
I was telling you this morning, wasn't I, that the commentator said that Tom Dean isn't really suited to a 400 free, and I was shouting through. I was trying to shout to him through the telly.
I mean, his PB is a 3:48. I mean, if that's not suited to 400 free, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I don't know either, and especially when you only have to look at his swim in the 400 free at ISL, where he paced it beautifully to beat who I thought Rapsis might actually go and win the Olympic gold.
Yeah,
and he still might. Who knows? But to overtake him like he did was
that's
phenomenal.
probably the most exciting race of ISL, wasn't it?
Exciting wise, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I remember you texting me and you were just going nuts.
Oh, it was insane. I just
put it on.
I just didn't expect it because I saw him at the 200 meter mark. He was still behind at 200, and I thought he's closing in here. It's very slowly, but he was closing in. And then with 4 lengths to go, so 100 meters to go, he actually overtook him and he held him off, which again surprised me.
Something he did at ISL was play about with tactics quite a lot. So this morning, maybe he just didn't quite get it right, and maybe we'll see something different tonight.
Possibly. I just think he took it out. He did take it out hard. He took it out in a 54, I think. 54, and then turned 154. Yeah. So the first 100 was 54, and then he turned the 200 on a 154. So he went a 54, then a minute, which is
not brilliant.
Which is not great. So I'm not sure what the plan was there. Whether he was just going fast, easy, I don't know. But it didn't work either way. He's made the final, so hopefully he adjusts it. It would have been better if he was next to Dan Jervis, so that it would be a proper sort of head-to-head in the middle of the pool.
Yeah, but these things happen.
These things happen.
So it's just about to get under the way. Why don't you go through the start list and let's go through that.
Okay, so in lane 1 is Charlie Hutchinson. Lane 2 is where Tom Dean is. Lane 3, William Bell. Lane 4, Dan Jervis. Lane 5, Luke Turley. In 6, you got Stephen Milne. Lane 7, Kieran Bird. And finishing up in lane 8 is William Riley.
Nice. And the times this morning, they were all fairly even. But what you'll find is a lot of these swimmers knew that they were making the final because it's not a massive field for 400 meters freestyle. So a lot of them will have just kind of paced on the guy next to them. And then we've got their PBs next to us and it's a bit all over the place, the personal best compared to the times they were going this morning. Well,
I was tweeting this morning and I was kind of expecting Stephen Milne to do a little bit better than what he did this morning. Maybe he might prove me wrong here. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But I don't think he looked too good.
This is his first.
I don't think he's raced for a while. But he's in a good position. I was quite a fan of lane 6, so hopefully he uses that lane quite well. But as expected, it's Dan Jervis who's taken it. Yeah, I know.
Well, Dan Jervis was really impressive last month at the Manchester International. I'm getting confused between international and invitational. Yeah. He was very impressive, and he was racing against Felix Ubeck, who himself looked really good, who's not here this week.
No, so you could kind of say, well, who's he going to race against? But actually, there are some swimmers that he could challenge. Some other swimmers that could challenge him. But I just think he's looking at this very point, strong.
I was going to say, at this point, the 200 meter mark, it kind of looks like race over already.
Yeah, and he's not going to fade away, seeing as though he was he was Commonwealth silver medalist in 2018. So he's going to have to stand for the back end.
In the 1500, yeah.
In the 1500, yeah, I should have said that, yeah. But Tom Dean is doing much better this race. And actually, because of that, he's dragging along William Bell and Luke Turley as well. Luke Turley had a good race this morning, actually. Should have probably said that as well. So freestyle in the male side is doing quite well.
It is. It's going quietly well in all sorts of distances right now. I think the 200 freestyle and the 2x400 relay, I'm really excited to see that one.
Honestly, we've got a great shout in it. And we've got a few swimmers to choose from now. We kind of said before that Tom Dean was a nailed swimmer for the 200, which he still might be. But there's other swimmers that might come through and just nab that place. You never know.
I'm looking forward to that race later on this weekend with Duncan Scott back in the water for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
as you
interesting.
can see here, they've gone to their legs on that 150 to go mark, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Is something that you do.
Was very interesting that the first 5 swimmers, in fact maybe even all of them, they've all got the gallop stroke, which usually you shouldn't be able to hold for a 400 or even a 1500 meter race. But it just shows how much stronger these swimmers are getting now.
I think the gallop stroke is kind of the new freestyle way.
Yeah, well, I put a poll out on Twitter asking about who had the best freestyle stroke, and it was between Thorpe, Phelps, and I put Manadoo in there for the straight arm front crawl.
That was never going to get a vote. I'm sorry. Too many people don't like sprinters.
And it was interesting how people still fancied Thorpe's stroke. Not by much. I mean, Manadoo he might have got 1 vote. So it was like 2% or something.
That might have been me.
Was it you? Oh, okay. But it was like 70-30 for Thorpe, which I thought was quite interesting.
So Dan Jervis gone 349. That's nice.
Yeah, anything under 350 is very good going.
Oh, Luke Turley nearly a PB.
Stephen Milne slightly quicker, but not as where I thought, because he's got a PB of 346.
William Bell with a new PB.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
By 0.5. Nice.
Half a second. Nice. William Riley's way off the pace there. Not quite sure what happened there, but it's good to see that we've got a lot of swimmers under 4 minutes. That's the sort of benchmark for the national sort of side of swimming,
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then the 350 mark is another benchmark for. Then you're talking the proper elite sort of side. Then, so I think under 4 minutes is the national side, and then under 350 is then you're talking that you're in there with the big dogs. Then at that sort of stage.
Tom Dean a little bit disappointing from the hype we gave him beforehand. He's not doing, what was it, the Manchester meet? He did the 100 fly, which is later on today. He's not doing that. Maybe he isn't racing quite as much this meet. Maybe he is training.
I mean, maybe he's targeting the 200 free. And of course, by racing the 400, because that's why he's taken out hard. I don't know if he's trying to practice the back end speed, maybe. It makes sense, actually, when I sort of figure out in my head that he's taken out hard and just seeing how much he can hold on to the form, the technique, and everything else, and seeing how much energy he can save. So maybe it's all practice for him. So
now the next race in the water it's a tough one. It's a 1 swimmer by themselves again, and I hate to see it. I really do, but it is the British record holder in it.
Yeah. What was her time? She broke the British record last time. I think it was 55, if I remember.
Yeah, she went 55.6 last time.
That's right, yeah.
We're talking about Ellie Chalice, if anyone is not aware. It's a real shame she's in the water by herself, but this is kind of an exhibition of how good she is.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, whether we haven't got anyone to really challenge her in her classification, really. But I'm kind of surprised that more swimmers haven't entered the 50 backstroke.
It's not an Olympic event. I thought with this week that there was the announcement that trials in April is kind of going to be a reduced program. So usually there are all the 50s there, but they are literally just going to be racing the Olympic races. So
they confirmed that not long ago, didn't they?
Yeah. So I was kind of surprised that they didn't drop the other 50s from this meet, if that makes sense. What's the point racing them now if you're not going to race them in a month's time?
I don't have the answer for you. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's just to get people in the water racing. But at the same time, what Ellie is about to do, she could do that in training tomorrow or next week or whatever. This is the same as just training for me.
Kind of like skins practice.
Yeah, a little bit, but by herself, which is
even
not good.
Worse.
Yeah, I mean, we were watching Cody Miller, who did a skins training session, didn't he? Admittedly, I mean, there wasn't any male swimmers on his sort of level, but he was racing Lily King. So it's actually quite good for Lily King because, of course, Cody was ahead of her.
Only just,
yeah, I know. It was 50 yards, mind you. I don't know how much that is in meters, but I mean, you literally dive in, you get to the end.
I wasn't worrying about the times. I was literally just watching how close she was on his shoulder for the whole thing, and
Yeah.
she descended the set as well, her skin set, which is
Oh,
crazy.
she's just a monster, isn't she? But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. But back to Ellie Chalice. I mean, hopefully she does break this British record again. What did she go this morning? 59.7. So she was 4 seconds off. Whether she'll break it, I'm not so sure. Did she have competition last month in the 50 back?
I think she was in the water with other para swimmers, but not so much
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue saying that, well, she would be behind the swimmers if she were racing them anyway. But it just does lining it behind the blocks, knowing that all eyes are on you. It's not the most ideal thing.
No, it's really tough. I mean, we said it last stream. We'll say it again. No one has set a world record by swimming by themselves.
Yeah. I find it amazing how she swims, quite frankly. I mean, she's got no leg function. That's the reason why for her classification. And she's missing, I think, her right hand. I can't remember which one it is, or left, or maybe even both. And how she's able to move in the water. It's quite phenomenal. It's honestly, I'm in kind of awe of what she does.
Some incredible core strength as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. So coming into last
I'm really missing this clock. I'll say it again.
It would help because we're on kind of limbo. That's why we kind of go quiet towards the end of a race. And you're like, 56 seconds.
Just nice. That's not bad when you're racing by yourself.
Yeah, that is quite good.
And it's a big drop from this morning.
I'd be pretty happy with that. I mean, from the swimmer's point of view, if I were Ellie, I'd be annoyed about it because 4 weeks ago I went a second quicker. So I would be annoyed by that, but that's my personal opinion. But from a coach's point of view, from a different mindset, I'd be quite happy with that. The fact that she's gone quicker than this morning, that's the first priority.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she swam by herself, which is not the most ideal thing.
And then next race, we have able-bodied women's 50 backstroke. And this is an interesting one. It's going to be close, I think.
Well, I kind of labeled this one as the sort of the big head-to-head of today, actually, of today's finals.
Yeah.
Kathleen Dawson swam very well this morning, going 27.9. In fact, she was the only woman to go under 28 this morning.
And she was very close to a new PB.
She was. But of course, Georgia Davis is able, well, her PB is 27.2. So she's got the better PB and probably the bigger or better experience. But I think it'll be a good head-to-head in this one.
Yeah, I tell you what, I did notice from all of these heats times this morning in all of the 50s, not just this backstroke one, but also the freestyle one later on this evening, is a lot of the swimmers were getting very close to personal bests.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said earlier, the sprinters need a longer taper. They need more racing to get them sharp. So it's more likely that these guys are going to be the ones swimming the fast times at this meet.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of anyone who was kind of close to their PB for distances of 200 or more. Even Molly Renshaw was quite a bit off her British record this morning.
That she set a month ago. Yeah,
she set a month ago. Whether she's swimming later on, isn't she? So we'll see if she turns up tonight. But you're right. It's the sprinters are able to get there closer to their PBs more so than distance swimmers, and I think that's because the distance swimmers are still in hard training, whereas these guys would be slowly bringing it down now. I would have thought.
So Georgia Davies is the British record holder. She does train. She is trained by the great James Gibson. We can't.
Is he the great now?
The stuff he's doing out for Energy Standard. And if you just follow him on Instagram, it's just fun to watch all the sessions he's doing.
Yeah. I think even though the race is going to be in the middle of the pool here, the talent on the outside lanes here, I think Honey Osrin is one to look out for. Plymouth seem to always produce backstrokers. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, they do.
They always seem to do it. But
backstroke's a very technical stroke, a bit like breaststroke, isn't it? You have to get that rotation right and straight line.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not one you can overly win with brute power.
No, I mean, you have to have good underwaters as well, which again I'll talk about with Luke Greenbank when he's underwater. But you're faster under the water for the underwaters, and it's all about stroke rate.
And it looks like Kathleen Dawson's got this. She has quite comfortably 27.63, which is that's a massive personal best.
A big PB for her.
Wow.
Yeah. Georgia didn't turn up this weekend for that particular race anyway. Yeah. Anyone else do really well?
We also have personal best at the top of the pool. Katie Shanahan with a new PB.
I need the screen. Oh, here we go. So I think even though Honey
like I
was
said,
down the bottom,
a lot of these girls are really close to their personal bests here.
yeah. But you kind of expect that for a 50 because I don't know. There's no real tactics for a 50. You're more of 50 meters specialist.
Yeah,
In my head,
it's not so much tactics; it's more everything going right.
yes, yeah. You can't put a foot wrong, really, can you?
No.
And of course, I would say you hold your breath, especially on flying and free, but you can't do it on backstroke. So it's just about trying to get those windmill arms going around as fast as you can.
Well, you can hold your breath on any stroke you want. Just because you're on your back doesn't mean you can't hold your breath.
I suppose I wasn't a backstroker. I suppose it's because you're face out the water, you're more inclined to breathe. I don't know. But,
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
Okay, well, some people do hold their breath, I'm sure.
Mm.
But yeah, and we've got another race with just
a single swimmer. It's kind of painful.
Mm,
you say there's 30% more swimmers here, but a lot of the para races that are coming up are swimmers by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I say 30%. That's what the commentator told me. Well, not me personally, but that's what he said.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a shame. And actually, Reese here is I believe, well, he's definitely the British record holder.
I think he's world record holder.
I think he might even be world record holder. Yeah. So anyone watching, if you want to see a good S14 swimmer do a 200 back, then this is the guy. He's the best in the world at it. It's just a shame he's got no one to race against, but
yeah.
we'll see what you can do. So he went 2:19 this morning. His PB, or the world record, is 2:13. So he was 6 seconds off.
And this morning he would have been racing with the able bodies because in the morning heats they do mix them in. They put them on the outside lanes, but then in the evening, I think it's more to space out the program so that there's more rest and it's a bit longer. They give them their own races, which sometimes works. I think this one is a time when it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, there's no spectators there, so they've got no one to sort of please on that sort of front. But it's the swimmers that need looking after, I suppose, because we said this last month, that they're not getting any rest in between these races.
Well, you say that. There's not a massive amount of swimmers today who are doubling up.
No, probably because they've learned. Probably because they've learned from the last month. Because we talked about it. It's more of a tolerance set more than race experience. You're just trying to get through the races, like you do in training. You're just trying to get to the end, really, aren't you? Whereas for racing, you want to try and pinpoint certain pieces of the races to try and improve on and try and figure out and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, so he's got a very nice backstroke, does Reese, actually. So he's an S14, so he's intellectually impaired. So there's no physical impairment. So he's looking pretty good. I don't know why.
It's almost a shame he isn't in the able body in an outside lane because he goes 2:13, and those guys go 2 minutes. It's not a mile away.
No, I mean he'd be 20 meters out. No,
yeah, I think that would be a lot better experience for him, and he might have people dragging him along.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, it's just a shame. It is a shame, but I don't know what you'd want. Do you chuck out one of the able-bodied swimmers from the final and then put him in?
Yeah, I think that's the other issue. What we'll see later on in the 50 freestyles is a few of the para swimmers have times that are good enough to race in the A final, and they are in there on merit rather than because they don't want them to swim by themselves.
Yeah, I think Scott Quinn is the one you're talking about, isn't it? And Hannah Russell as well.
Yeah.
So there are a few that do, just because their times are very, very similar to the able-bodied swimmers. So they do race in the same race. But I don't know. I mean, I think Reese is, like you say, he's only 13 seconds PB-wise. He's only 13 seconds away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see him in that rather than swim by yourself. Is just you could do this in training. There's no experience whatsoever for him.
Not really.
No race experience for Olympics because this is never going to happen.
Nope. Unless you have a swim off, but I mean, for a 200 backstroke, that is the most rarest thing.
For a swim off, you need another person.
Yeah. 2:16.31. So quicker than this morning. 3 seconds quicker than this morning, just off his world record.
But you see that? Look, 950 points. That's a massive total. That's the biggest total we've seen so far today.
That will win you Paralympic gold. Yeah. I mean, anywhere in the 900s is pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good swim from Reese there. I'd be pretty happy with that, quite frankly. I would maybe add a little bit more rotation into his backstroke. I don't know if that would make any difference, but a bit more hip rotation.
You are the coach.
But that's me anyway.
You never did backstroke?
Not really. I did as recovery in between the hard front crawl sets.
Okay.
I didn't race it.
We now have probably the race to keep your eye on. This is the big race of the evening. Because Luke Greenbank kind of shocked the world this morning.
The world?
I would say so, because he went faster than Ryan Murphy went over in America. And obviously we spoke before, San Antonio, American trials are June. So they're in a very different training cycle than we are over here. But when you're 0.1 off a national record in a heat swim, there's something to shout about there.
He did go for it. I'm going to talk about his underwater work because it was on point. It was on point this morning, and he just looks phenomenal. I can't remember what the other swimmers did. Let me just double check. So the second fastest was 2 minutes. So he beat everyone by 5 seconds. Yeah. Which, when you watch it live, he won it by it was a good 10 meters. He destroyed the field. And
is he a medal hope for Tokyo?
For 200 backstroke.
Yeah. It's hard. There are some gorgeous backstrokers out there.
Honestly, for backstroke, for the male backstroke, you're doing well to make a final, quite frankly. Because we could name probably 10 swimmers that could make the final, which means 2 miss out, which is devastating.
He did win bronze at World Champs. So he is already selected for Tokyo, which means if I were him, I'd be training quite hard right now. I'd still be going because you don't have to taper for trials. So the fact that he's gone at a 155, if he is training hard, wow. Yeah. What is he going to do? I think it's fair to say he's probably the form British male right now.
Yeah, I mean, who else goes into that category?
I think Jimmy Guy was a bit impressive last week or last month.
Yeah, but he's not doing lifetime PBs, is he?
No, exactly. So on that basis,
you're going to have to say that Luke's doing the best from the male side. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Because I was sort of talking about Craig McNally as well, who's up in lane 1. His PB is nigh on the same as
155.67. So he's actually gone faster than Luke Greenbank went this morning. But Luke Greenbank looks like the one who might. I hope he gets this British record. I really do.
But I talking about Craig McNally, I just don't. What's happened to lane? What happened there? Someone slipped.
Yeah,
Brody Williams slipped. That's a shame.
Oh,
yeah. He was probably one of the form swimmers last month. Oh, that's a shame. But never mind, because he was in a very good lane as well.
If you're in this situation now, what do? Do you just concentrate on your back end splits?
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Try not to panic, get this first 50 out the way, and then you concentrate on negative splitting it from here.
I would say so, because now he's probably, in his mind, he's probably more worried and more hyped up, I guess, because he knows he has to try and catch up. So he's probably going to burn more energy. So you probably might find he slips back even further. Yeah, so
my thinking was the pressure might be off.
Yeah, maybe.
Might feel quite loose, and that last 100 might be quite nice.
If we take a look at Greenbank's underwater here, right? So normally on backstroke or butterfly kick, by kicking sort of your legs downwards, so you're engaging the quads more. That's the more powerful sort of side of the dolphin kick. He's actually able to do it both ways, a bit like Dressel does and Ryan Murphy does. So he kind of kicks up and down and doesn't lose any momentum whatsoever. It's difficult to see, but if we had an underwater camera, you'd see how effective. You'd see how effective it is, though. And I think swim speed, he is the fastest in the pool as well. But the reason why he's so far ahead is because of these dolphin kicks. And he kind of looks like he speeds up as he presses down and uses his hamstrings, which is quite incredible, quite frankly.
Shall I try and find you a video of his underwater, and you could do a YouTube video just breaking that down?
I mean, I could do. I don't know. It'll be very quick, I feel.
So to break the British record, he's got to go sub 155.58. Is he going to do it? 155.34.
Done it.
He's done it. Lovely.
Oh my God. Wow. God, he's on fire, isn't he?
He is.
Holy moly.
Only one under 2 minutes as well. And Brody Williams came fourth.
Yeah.
That's a good swim.
Can you imagine what he would have done then? Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing quite well last month, wasn't he, Brody Williams? And I mentioned his name a few times. It's such a shame that he didn't sort of stay with Luke as much as possible there. Because what's his PB, Brody? 156.2.
156.
So you never know. You never know. But that's a massive swim from Luke Greenbank.
New PB.
I mean, that record stood for over 10 years. James Goddard's record there.
Yep.
Just gone. Wow, awesome. Craig McNally, what did he go? 203, quicker than this morning, but his personal best 155. So, but I think he hasn't raced for a while now, has he?
No, because it's the first meet that
A lot of the Scottish swimmers haven't swam, have they, for a while? So, awesome swim. I mean, he's won by 5 seconds. He's literally ripped. These are the best backstrokers in our country, and he's just blown them away. So, can you imagine? Do you reckon people in America are actually going to be watching that? Do you reckon Ryan Murphy's
think
going to
they'll
be
pay attention to it. I really
do? You reckon? Because I don't know what time Ryan Murphy went. You were the one watching that, but if he's going 3 or 4 seconds quicker now, then blimey.
Yeah, like I said, he can train through, so it's kind of he can get better.
Yeah, and I think that's due to he's got such a strong underwater work, and he's able to break out and use that speed from that underwater work into his stroke as well. Just awesome. I'd love to see what he does short course, actually. That'd be interesting.
Well, he's kind of hit form straight after ISL, hasn't he?
Yeah.
ISL, he did all right, but there were some big backstroke names there going really, really fast. And then he's come back and he's done, 2 long course meets? And both of them, he's looked insanely fast.
I know. I mean, I'm really impressed. I'm not even sure what time will win the Olympics 200 back. What's Ryan Murphy's record?
51, I think.
51. Yes, we still got a way to go.
No, that's not Ryan Murphy. That's still Aaron Pearsall's world record.
Oh, that was a super suit. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan Murphy, I think, has gone 152.
2 or 3. Yeah. So he's still got a way to go on that sort of side, but he's going in the right direction. Jeez, awesome swim. I mean, that's going to be the big headline, obviously, for tonight and tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'd say that's already typed up.
People are typing right now. Yeah.
I've somehow managed to get a tweet up about it already.
Oh, did you? Oh, good job. I can't do 2 things at once. I can barely talk as it is now. So right, onto the women's then. So 200 fly. Oh, this is where Emily Large did really well this morning.
Yeah, this was one you wanted to pay attention to because there's a few big names in here.
There is. Sophie Freeman. I mean, we kind of forget how young she is. I think she's 17 or something young. So she's going to be one for the future. But I think the race is going to be in the middle here with Emily Large and Laura Stevens.
Don't forget Alice Thomas. She is 200 fly commie champion
back in 2018. Very true, and that was a very good swim. I remember that race.
Yeah, so PB's 205, which on paper is class of the field.
Yeah, I think she might have the same issue as Craig McNally, mind you, where this is her first race for months, maybe even next to a year. So it's going to be tough for her to break this is a cobweb race for her, or this day anyway. She might improve over the weekend like some of the swimmers did last month. But I think she'll go quicker, Alice Thomas, but I don't think she'll compete with the 2 in the middle.
You don't think?
No, I don't think so. I expect Laura Stevens to win this race.
She won Manchester, didn't she?
Yeah. And I think she'll go maybe a second or 2 quicker than this morning. Takes it to
208.
2829. Yeah, low 29, high 28, I would say. And then Emily Large will do much the same as this morning, maybe slightly less. I would have thought. That's roughly speaking. But there should be a good race here. And 200 fly is all about holding technique. So whoever looks the best on the last 100 meters, usually comes through quite nicely. And that's what Jimmy Guy did last month, didn't he? He was looking good pretty much the whole way through. He kept his hips high, kept his stroke long, and he just came through like a train in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, it's not one of those races where you want to be leading by a body length after the first 50. No, because at that point you're just like, oh no, I'm going to be hurting by the end.
Yeah, I think only Phelps has been able to do that, hasn't he?
Chad's starting to give it a go, which you can really see the pain at the end of it.
I just wouldn't recommend it ever for anybody. It's hard work. We've got a 3-way head-to-head here.
We do.
Kiana's doing a pretty good job. If she's able to keep up with the
her PB is 209. So if she gets anywhere near that, I think if she winning the race on the shoulder of these two, she might actually PB.
Yeah, hopefully. Again, I'm just going to repeat myself, and if she can hold that technique, this is where I think, is she breathing every other stroke? It looks like it. This is where you kind of need the oxygen to get into the body to get.
I was going to say, breathing every other stroke at this point in the 200 fly is pretty good.
I know, that's pretty good going. She's starting to fade away now, but it's Laura Stevens that's in front, and it all comes down to the last length here. Who's got the most energy left? Emily Large is the longest under the water. Doesn't mean that's the best thing to do. It's all about the speed under the water, of course. But Laura Stevens, I think,
you called it. She does look very good this last 25.
Yeah,
in fact,
she's
I don't know if it's because the camera angle's changed, but it looks like now she's rocketing ahead.
Yeah, I think she's going to win by a body length here, or not just under a body length. But
the time we will not know until the end.
Oh, such a shame.
2:08.
2:08. Kind of right.
Emily Large actually went faster than this morning as well, which is really good. And then Kiana, very close to a PB.
Just out. That's a shame. Amy Wilmot got fourth there. Kind of forgot about her, which is a shame. I shouldn't really forget about her because, of course, she's a Commonwealth champion in the 400 IM, so she's going to have the back end speed for a 200 fly. But the same as the names we've already mentioned, that she hasn't swam now for nigh on a year. So good, horrible race to come back to 200 fly, isn't it? Jeez, I would not want to do that. But
for me and you, some people might enjoy that.
Oh, they're nuts if you ask for me. Jeez.
Good race, though. Good race. That was kind of a nice three-way battle. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talk about our top 10 races ever, or Phelps, Lochte, and it's the ones that have the most drama are always the most interesting. And
I was going to say we did a video on the best ones of ISL, and Dressel wasn't number one because I mean I think I overruled you completely from the moment we started writing that video. I was just like, no, it's the women's 100 freestyle.
Yeah,
I can't four of them within 0.05.
I know. I don't think I remember watching that race. I've watched it, of course.
It was the final, so you kind of missed it. That was the one.
I was away, of course.
Missed. Yeah,
that was a shame. I remember watching Duncan Scott's 200 free, which I think was rightly in second because that was just the perfect way to swim a front crawl. But you would have thought if you were to ask anyone, any swimmer, you'd probably put Dressel's 100 IM there, wouldn't you? But not for us. We at the time was sensational. Don't get us wrong, but has to have some sort of drama. It has to be a race. Yeah, that's the whole idea.
So we're back onto the single swimmer event.
Such a shame. Such a shame. But very similar to Rhys Davis when he was in the water, we now have
one of the best in the world. Yeah,
we have a silver medalist at the Worlds for this event,
and British record holder,
of course. Yeah. So his PB, this is Stephen Clegg we're talking about. His PB is 57.3. He went minute 0.5 this morning. So. How's he going to go here? I mean, he didn't swim it last month, so he might have a few cobwebs. But we'll see. We'll see. He's pretty. He is pretty good, Stephen Clegg. He is pretty good, but it's just a shame that no one's racing him.
Well, how far off the able body is he? 7 seconds. I think that's probably a little bit too far to put him in that race for
over 100. I suppose it's quite far. Yeah. But at the same time, you said it was okay for Rhys Davis when he was 13 seconds on a 200. So it's much the same, isn't it? But
I don't want to see swimmers racing by themselves. I know it's great the British women have got this meet on. It's amazing, considering the challenges that everyone is going through right now. But putting a swimmer by himself in a race like this, I mean,
kind of confused why no more para swimmers have entered this 100 fly.
Well, I wonder if it's the fact that there's not as many of them on elite funding as there should be.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
all of them have got the opportunity to actually have been training up until this meet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few swimmers that have recently moved to Manchester, whose name escapes me now. There was two of them. Tom Hamer's just gone back to Manchester. Who were the other two?
I remember reading it on our cheat sheet. It'll come up later on.
Oh no, that's going to really annoy me. But anyway, it will come back to me eventually. But Stephen Clegg's got a wonderful butterfly. Kind of reminds me of Jacob Piecer's fly. It's very similar, very long,
nice and smooth.
It looks effortless, doesn't it?
Yeah,
kind of like, the Phelps sort of fly. Looks like he's putting no effort in whatsoever. Oh, times his stroke perfectly there. 58.2. Oh, nice. That is a good time.
Good swim.
Yeah.
Good swim. And there you go, 929 points. Again, massive total.
Another good swim.
Even though he's off his personal best by, a second? It's still a huge score.
Yeah. Not that it matters. He's not competing against anyone. But when it gets to trials and Paralympics, then it's going to be, hopefully, medal contender. That'd be nice.
Well, I'd hope when it comes to the para trials that there are more swimmers in the water. Because they've shortened it by a day already.
I think
or was
so.
Or was that the actual British selection trials?
I don't know. I remember reading it on a British swimming thing. I can't remember what they were relating it to now. Can't actually remember. But yeah, hopefully Stephen Clegg can upgrade his world silver to a Paralympic gold. I mean, that's perfect progression, really, isn't it?
I mean, that is the obvious aim. Yeah. I don't think you needed to explain that one.
No, not really.
Right, next in the water, this is kind of a big name heat, or final even.
Heat, yeah. I mean, let's do the heat again, shall we?
Go on, go through the start list, because there's some big names here.
All right, then. So lane 1, we got Lewis Fraser. Lane 2, Edward Mildred. Lane 2, Joe Litchfield. 4 is James Guy. Lane 5, Jacob Peters. Lane 6, Duncan Scott. 7 is Max Litchfield. And lane 8 is Scott Millay.
Some big names. Big names.
I mean, you can go through them. I mean, Edward Mildred is the one to look out for in terms of the youth and the one coming through. But then lanes 3, 4, 5, 6, and I suppose you can put Max Litchfield in there because of the name and his 400 IM ability. I mean, he won European silver, didn't he, for the 400 IM? But the middle of pool is completely stacked.
Yeah, Jimmy Guy is the class of the field. PB is 2 seconds almost faster than everyone else. I'll just tee you up. Whose start should everyone watch?
Oh, Joe Litchfield. That's a no-brainer. You should have seen it this morning. I was just like, you watch him. Watch. Yep, first to 15.
Yeah,
every time.
He's one of the fastest in the world at it right now.
Yeah, usually when I was coaching, I usually said to swimmers, if you're first to 15, you're usually first to 25.
Yeah.
When you're racing 25 meters, of course, a bit different when you're racing 50. But usually, because he's so good at the stroke as well, he's first to 15, 25, and 50. Depends what the tactic is for Jimmy Guy here, whether he takes out hard or comes back strongly.
I think he probably comes back strong, going off his 200 fly form. I think Jacob Peters probably takes this out quite fast because his 50 fly at Manchester, he got a new PB. It was very impressive in that.
Yeah.
And then Duncan Scott, well, this is his first final long course in over a year. So he's probably blowing out the cobwebs here before the bigger races later on in the weekend.
Possibly. That's probably the tactic for it. Yeah, I would have thought so. I like Jacob Peters' fly. Well, actually, we'll watch Joe Litchfield start and bang on the money. He's a half a body length ahead. And then if
you're so proud that you call it every time, even though it's so predictable.
I know, it's the most predictable thing, isn't it?
I tell you what, Jimmy Guy looks like he has taken this out hard.
Yeah, I mean, he does change his tactics, which is probably the reason why he's one of the best in the country, because he does adapt and he kind of figures out what works best for him. What did he split? I can't see. Is that
24-1, I think.
24-1. It's just whether he holds it now.
Yeah.
But Jacob Peters' fly. I like it. So the one lane down from Jimmy Guy at Jacob Peters, see how long his arms are? He's able to get his arms over the top. Really quite a lot higher over the water. Some would say that's higher, but
Jimmy is flying. Nice. Always tying up slightly.
What time's that? 51.7. It's a second quicker than this morning, though. Any PBs out there? There must be some PBs there.
He tied up the last 10. It looked like he had, especially the last 5, some short strokes, kind of looking for that wall and spotting his finish. So maybe he didn't quite spot it from far enough away, or his arms just got a bit heavy.
Yeah, but maybe.
It wasn't quite the smoothest last 5 you'd looked for. But other than that, the rest of the race was really impressive.
It was really good. We had a PB in there. Joe Litchfield hit a PB by, I think it was 0.1 in the end. So he's improving all the time. Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, with a start like that and the underwaters that he has, he's going to cause anyone problems. So he's more of a 200 IM swimmer, isn't he? I would say. Or maybe even a backstroker. He's able to...
with a start like that, are you not really good at 50s?
Well, possibly, yeah. I wouldn't say he's built for a 50. He's not like the Adam Peaty size, the Dressel size, but
No, but it kind of reminds me a bit of Michael Andrew. He can do a bit of everything.
yeah, yeah.
And with a start that good, I'd actually like to see how he goes at short course world championships.
He kind of reminds me a little bit of Ryan Lochte because his underwater work is so good that he's able to do the 200 free, the 100 free, the 200 IM, the 400 IM, etc. He's able to do it all because of that one skill.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was going back to Luke Greenbank. You know, I was quite happy when he did this 200 IM last month, and that's probably because of his underwater work. The fly off the start and the back.
Well, wasn't it?
Also very good. I swear that was a 2-second PB. He's obviously the form swimmer. But yeah, Joe Litchfield 0.1 PB just then. But Jimmy Guy, you're right. I think he's probably the talking point now. He looked good. He took it out hard and then died towards the end, as I suppose you do. But yeah, good swim from him overall.
So we've got another British record holder in the water now. And it's almost a shame. I don't think she'll get this British record this time because...
What, do we have both British record holders?
We do. They're equal. That's a very, very good point. But my thinking was Abby Woods not swimming the 200 breaststroke this week. And she pushed Molly Renshaw on all the way to that world record? British record.
Yeah.
So a little less competition, but when you have the equal British record holder in the lane next to you, I guess you should have some competition.
It should drive you on a little bit, surely. I mean, it would if I was in that position, because the last thing you want to do is lose your British record to the person next to you. That would be a nightmare in my sort of view.
So you're looking really to break the British record this week, if they do, to go sub 2:22.
Basically, yeah. Will it happen? I don't think it will happen this.
No, I don't think it will either.
Because I think Dave Hemmings actually put out a video of Molly training, and it looks like she's doing a lot of paddle work, a lot of weighted vertical kick. What else was there?
Insane.
A lot of sculling stuff. So they're obviously trying to break down the stroke and work on the certain elements and parts of the stroke.
You look at the times that everyone was hitting this morning. Most of them are PB +5.
Yeah,
I heard they're kind of a long way off. Again, it maybe because it's a reduced field, you're in the final, so you just take it easy.
Yeah, I think I tweeted that this morning that most swimmers, majority are about 4 or 5 seconds off their PB, which I suppose is normal maybe for a heat swim.
It wouldn't be when it comes to world champs or Olympics, but at British kind of level where there's not quite the competition that everyone else has.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to motivate yourself to swim fast in an early morning when you've got no one to swim against and no time to really hit. It's
not easy unless you're very self-motivated, and I suppose the only swimmer that can do that is maybe Adam Peaty because he's by himself anyway, you know. So
we'll talk about his time next because it was not impressive.
That's next, isn't it? So, but Molly Renshaw again, look, she's taken out quite nicely here. She's got a phenomenal kick. So she's obviously doing loads of vertical or weighted vertical kick in training because the distance she gets from just doing the one kick. So from the flags here, she's taken 2 strokes, which I'll
tell you what, her stroke almost reminds me of, is it Gyurta?
Yeah.
The way that he used to kind of glide.
Yeah.
It looked so effortless and he was so long kind of gliding under the water. It reminds me of that.
It's very interesting how breaststroke can be seen in so many different ways. I mean, Lily King is able to do every single event, but it's more of a sprint stroke, yet she can hold it over 200 meters. And then you got Molly Renshaw, who's more of a long glide stroke, but she's able to do 100 meters as well. It's a weird stroke. It's one of the anomalies.
It's one of the strokes where actually you're gonna struggle to see a swimmer double up at the Olympics. So you're very unlikely to see the winner of the 100 win the 200.
No, I think Lily King has tried, but she hasn't been able to do it.
I think the closest was the lady we never talk about, which we're never going to mention her name because she doesn't deserve to.
We don't need to. The Russian. We'll leave it at that. But anyway, let's go back to the race. We'll go back to the race.
So she's obviously battered the current reigning
Oh,
British record holder.
not
It's gone
far away.
2:22.7. That is fast.
Blimey. I wasn't
I'll tell you
expecting
what,
that.
if she had someone else going 2:22 with her,
Yeah. That's blimey. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought she'd be like a second or two off that record. Not to be within, but pretty much half a second. That's very good going. Now, any PBs out there? Let me just check. Lily Booker's
we're
just off.
We're scanning.
Lily Booker's just off. She's one to watch out for. Lily Booker from Millfield. She's got the same sort of stroke as Molly, where it's nice and long, looks really smooth and effortless. So hopefully she comes through. Maybe not this Olympics, but the Olympics after, or somewhere down the line. But yeah, I think breaststroke, both men and women, is in a pretty good place actually.
Yeah, Molly Renshaw, I think, is one to keep an eye on in Tokyo. Do you think she'll be up there?
Yeah. I'm trying to honestly think of another international 200-meter breaststroker out at the moment.
Lily King.
Yeah, but I don't know if she'll enter it. Well, then again, she'll be in all the relays, won't she? She might just focus on the 100. I couldn't tell you. I can't think of any.
Mine's gone blank. If anyone watching the feed does know of any 200 breaststrokers that me and Dan can't think of, let us know.
Female.
We need your help. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't think of anyone. Based on that, then she's going to win gold. Okay, cool.
Because there's no one else you can think of.
Yeah.
Welcome to Propulsion Swimming, everybody.
The stuff we just make up as we go. Yeah.
We'll just have a bit of fun.
All right, men's 100 breaststroke then.
Yeah.
So we've got three swimmers in. We've got two S14s.
3 S14s.
Oh, sorry, 3. Yes, you're right. I haven't written that down. Yeah, Connor Morrison is also an S14. That's right. So all
this is almost a direct race. In fact, it is.
Yeah, right. It is. Yeah, yeah. Because they're in the same classification. Basically, whoever touches the wall first will win overall. Yeah. So going off times this morning, Connor went 69.7. Jack Milne went 1:10.83, and Lewis went 1:14.29. So it's 5 seconds splitting them all, but
on paper,
yeah, of course, everything changes in the final, doesn't it? Yeah. So we should be in for a good race here, actually. I mean, I wouldn't say Lewis Lawler is more of a breaststroker. I would say he's more of a backstroker. He did win. He won the bronze at the Worlds in 2019 London, didn't he?
Yeah.
So maybe again, this is just because he didn't race last month, did he, Lewis? So maybe it's a cobweb sort of race to get it out the way, ready for tomorrow and Sunday. Possibly, who knows? But we should be in for a good race
again, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And seeing as it was one of the, let's call it official races, like a Paralympic race for the S14s. And so, yeah. We'll see how it goes, shall we?
Yeah. Okay, so while there's kind of a natural pause in us talking, even though there's a race just about to start, if anyone does have any comments or questions, let us know in the chat. We are going to hang around for 10-15 minutes after all the racing tonight is finished, and we will interact with you guys. We will answer any of your questions that you've got. Yeah. I think we had a lot of fun last week. I think we answered, I think one of them was, what was the most embarrassing moment that's ever happened to you in a swimming race?
Oh, yeah, God, geez.
Stuff like that. We will answer everything and anything. I'm happy to throw Dan under a bus if it's needed.
Why am I the one that has to answer it? Surely you do as well, Connor's gone out like a shot here. We have got his PB. I would love to know what his PB is. But we have to base it off the swim he did this morning for 69.7.
Yeah.
But he's looking really good. So it's another different kind of breaststroke stroke where there's no glide whatsoever. So as soon as his arm's fully extended in front of him,
this is almost the difference we were saying between 100 breaststroke and a 200 breaststroke. It's really stark.
Yes, yeah. And I think the best way to explain it is when we had Marco Koch on the podcast. Yep. He kind of explains how there's so many different breaststroke strokes out there that you have to train them all. So go and listen to that. What was it? 1089? Yeah. Oh, second quick. Nice. Oh, the blue with the water doesn't help. Why did they choose blue? 1:11.18. So Jack's slightly off, and then Lewis 1:12.3. Oh, 2 seconds quicker as well.
Yeah. Nice.
So overall, pretty good race, I'd say.
It's good to see a full race finally.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I need to see Connor's PB there because I don't know. I feel like 1:08.9 seems to be pretty decent. I don't know. What's the British record for it for S14?
105.
105. So slightly off.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what his PB is. If anyone
So
does know,
the British record holder is actually racing next. He's in the abled body.
Oh yeah, Scott Quinn.
He is that fast.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is another similar to the men's 100 fly. This is where the big names are again, really. In this 100
so you got your Ross Murdoch, who it's good to see in the water one more time, or one more again. It's been a year since we've seen him. I think he's a very good shout for the 200 breaststroke.
Yep.
Come into Tokyo and probably this meet as well. And then James Wilby, who is no slouch either, you were saying beforehand, he might maybe pose a bit of a threat here to Adam Peaty.
It sounds crazy to say that, but Peaty did not look good this morning.
He was shaking his head and everything, wasn't he?
He wasn't happy with his swim, and I suppose rightly so. What did he go? 59.4 to some swimmers, most swimmers, if not all breaststrokers, actually, they would be very happy with that time.
I was going to say that's faster than Michael Andrew did, who won the San Antonio 100 breaststroke.
Yes,
so it's not bad, but at the same time, PT standard, that's PB +3. Ugh.
Yeah, he's not happy with that. What I was kind of pleased with, or happy to see, that he was actually first to 15 meters, which is not something he normally does. He is not known as a good starter and a good underwater specialist or turns.
Well, he just needs to get on the surface as quick as possible because his stroke's incredible.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's something we saw kind of under the radar at ISL. Was because it was short course and there were many breaststrokers who aren't that good at underwater. A few of them were even skipping the underwater phase and literally getting on the surface as quick as possible.
Yeah, I can't even remember the names. Was it Molly Hannis?
No,
Margalis did it in the 400 IM. I'm sure.
I was a bit confused. I was like, did I miss this from happening? Did I just skip seeing it? So I wonder if he ever plays with that.
Possibly.
Because on top of the water, he is rapido.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he's in a league of his own as soon as he breaks the surface.
Do you know what? I hope he does it for round 1 of ISL next year. Short course. Just don't do the underwater. See what you do.
Just to trial it. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Very interesting. I just, I don't know.
I'm a coach at breaststroke.
Yeah. I like to think I'm a coach, but breaststroke is such a funny stroke. I mean, you're going to have to learn a lot of different stuff, which obviously Mal Marshall has done with him.
But James Wilby here, he's part of that David Hemmings super squad, as we'll call them. They are doing really well right now.
Yeah. Did you see PT start again there?
Yeah,
he's definitely improving that. Maybe that's the one thing he's focusing on, and so he hasn't done the hard work in the pool yet. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But even now, I kind of expect him to be further ahead. I don't know if that's weird to say, or I don't know. Something doesn't seem right at the moment. I don't know if he's in hard training.
Well, he's already qualified, but as does James Wilby. So
does James Wilby, yeah. He's looking a bit better now, actually.
He is. But I kind of like James Wilby to get silver at the Olympics.
Well, he won silver at the Worlds, so he's got every chance of doing so.
I think anything in the 158 mark will get him that.
In the 158?
Sorry, 58.
In the 58, yeah. Okay, well, that's a bit better. 58.2, and then 59.3 from James Wilby.
58.5.
He should be... Oh, sorry. Yeah, 58. I said that, didn't I? Oh, anyway.
58.2.
Oh, sorry. 5.2. Right. And then James Wilby should be pretty happy with that. 59.3. I'd be pretty happy with that.
I think on form, that's good.
Yeah. Scott Quinn went quicker than this morning. 66.8. Very slightly quicker. 0.05. But quicker either way. Yeah. But it's good. I mean, we've got so many swimmers on 61 seconds.
I'll tell you what, there's a nice PB there for Harvey Freeman.
Yeah?
So before the start of the day, his PB was a 105, and he's just gone a 103. That is very nice.
Right. He PB'd in the heats, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Top job.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. But breaststroke, we've always been good at breaststroke. It must just be a British thing. I don't know. But again, we've seemed to have depth, because going 61 is actually world class for 100 breaststroke.
Yeah,
That's
it's kind of
very good.
just because PT's in the pool, you kind of skip over it, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you should really kind of ignore PT because he's very much by himself.
Anomaly.
Yeah, because it used to be if you were to go under a minute for 100 breaststroke, you win Olympic goals. That's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've got, I can't remember what it was now, like five swimmers 101. That is world class swimming. But we all seem to do it. British, I don't know what it is. We breed them over here. It's incredible.
We do. Right, we're on to the final 2 events, let's say, even though there's like 5 finals of them. We've got 2 events, and it's my favorite, the splash and dash.
The splash and dash. Well, this is where you can take over then, if you like. The 53.
The 53. 53. I get there. Well, why don't you start us off with the start list? Let's hit that one.
All right. So in lane 3, we've got Abby Kane. Lane 4, Zara Maluli. Lane 5, Louise Fids. I need to get that right. Is that Fidiz or Fids? I'm going to go with Fids. Lane 6 is Leah O'Connell.
So I think the first 3 girls, anything under 30 seconds is a good time.
I would say so. We had Louise went 29.1 this morning.
I mean, Zara's a world silver medalist in the 50 freestyle. So again, there's some top quality swimmers here for British swimming.
Yeah, well, Leah, who's on screen now, Leah didn't swim last month. So she might, I don't know, maybe she upsets.
On our cheat sheet, she recently moved to Manchester. There you go. There's one you were missing.
That's the one. Yes. I knew I wrote it down somewhere. Yes, she's recently gone to Manchester. That's right, with Tom Hamer, and there's another name which I can't remember. But yeah, I mean that's where Manchester is the place for para swimming now, isn't it? It's like the hub for it, if you like, a bit like Loughborough is for the able-bodied swimmers.
Now, in case anyone is wondering what I'm doing, looking off the screen all the time, what we did do before the start of the day, or for the whole of this meet, we have put together our own spreadsheet. We've got everyone's personal bests, all the British records, all the Olympic or the world records, just so that we're paying attention and getting everything right. Because we can't make the odd little comment about the official commentary getting things wrong and then get things wrong ourselves. We've put a lot of time and effort into this live feed.
We have, and there will be things that we get wrong from time to time. And
28.2
like that. What was the time from this morning? 29.1. Oh, good.
Lovely.
Abby Kane just shy of going under 30. Leah just shy from her time this morning. Oh, no, just under from her time this morning, sorry. Zara just a second out of her.
And Leah's gone faster as well.
Yeah.
They all went faster from their morning swim. And that's how you do it for a 50. Because there's not, between a day's racing for a 50 freestyle, there's not going to be that massive drop. So it's going to be, you'll take yourself away from your race this morning. You'll say, I didn't get my start right. I didn't catch right. I was too stiff, something like that. And you'll try and fix that one thing before the evening session. You can't go out and do a 2-second faster time. That's just not going to happen.
I think there's a lot of superstitions with these sprinters, because I know Caleb Dressel, when you tie your trunks up, he leaves the laces out for the heats. And then for the final, it kind of tucks it in. I think I've seen that. And of course, in his head, because the laces are out, it kind of creates drag. So he knows he's going to go faster in the final.
I think it's by much.
Not really? By much. But this is where superstition comes in, especially for these sprinters, because they're so, sensitive.
Okay, so because there were so many swimmers racing this 50 freestyle, we actually have a B final for once, which is really nice. Good to see. It's good to see swimmers who haven't quite made the cut get in a chance at a finals and racing through the rounds, which is what this meet is all about.
And because of that, we're able to get the para swimmers mixing in with able bodies. So in lane 8, we've got Hannah Russell.
Yeah.
Who is, she's visually impaired, Hannah Russell, I believe. And does she might even have the British record.
She has the British record, yeah.
Yeah.
27.1 or 27.01.
27.01. Oh, well, basically she's got to go 26 point, hasn't she?
Yeah.
But she went 28.9 this morning, so probably a little bit out of reach for this competition. But of course,
she does have swimmers around her now who will pull her along. So it's a massive difference from racing racing by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So who's the name to look out for here?
Harriet Jones is the fastest qualifier, but as they all kind of missed the final, this is almost kind of a flat heat.
It is. This might be a blanket finish. So this is all good practice for who gets their hand on the wall first. So you got to get the stroke. I don't know, the stroke count right, I suppose, in a way, and make sure you finish on a full extended arm as well. Don't jam the finish.
I think on personal best, Georgia Coates in lane 5 is the fastest, but I think on form, I would probably say Harriet Jones, and because I've predicted that with 5 meters to go, I will be right.
Ah, dear me.
27.2. That's 26.2. That's a PB.
It is a PB. So I think I remember her doing lots of PBs last month as well. Because Harriet was.
She was a name you kind of wrote down, wasn't it?
Well, she swam at Cardiff, and I remember she was a bit young when I was there, but she always had the talent for being a flyer, 50 and 100, and now she's able to do. Well, it looks like she's able to do every sprint at the moment. 26.2 for 53 is good going. That is good going, and the fact that what was her PB before 20. Wow, she's dropped by 0.3.
Yeah, that's good.
That is very good going.
Actually, if she swam that in the morning, she would have made the A final.
Yeah.
Let's see how they all go in the A final to see if she would have finished any higher up.
Yeah. Well, you remember her time then. Who else? Who do we have in this A final then?
So Anna Hopkin is the big name. Big name. She's a finalist at World Champs.
Yeah. I mean, her technique is she's got the straight arm front crawl, which is, I know you're a bit of a fan of that because Manadu does it.
Takes a lot of strength to do that.
Yeah, and she doesn't breathe, as far as I remember. She doesn't breathe for the whole 50 as well. And
so her personal best is a 24.3, which is in a class of its own, really.
Yeah, it's a good second. Well, based on PBs, she's a second faster than everyone else in the field.
Mm-hmm.
But Lucy Hope also swam pretty well this morning, going 25.7. So if she's able to go anywhere around those sort of times, would be pretty good. Imogen Clark, I thought she's more of a breaststroker, of course, isn't she?
But she is, but she's like you always say, she's got that fast twitch muscle, so she's going to be good at most sprints.
Yes, yeah, a bit like like most sprinters are. Michael Andrew, if you've got these fast twitch, you're able to do each stroke of 50 meters, and she's obviously one of them.
But again, she might be blowing out the cobwebs for a race later on in the meet.
Possibly, yeah.
And obviously, the 50 freestyle is an Olympic race, so why not race it?
Yep. I'm surprised that she doesn't do what Sarah Vasey does and kind of enter the 200 breaststroke, but then stop at 100 and go for a split. That surprises me. But anyway, each to their own. That's what.
I mean, her PB is 25.9. That's not too bad.
Well, you can see the explosiveness she has off the start. She's actually in the front,
right at the bottom lane.
Right at the bottom. Yeah. But because of the straight arm power that Anna Hopkin has, she should come through towards the end. And I imagine that she would help with the camera change. Yeah.
They've only got 2 camera angles here. It's not.
Oh, it's a blanket finish in the end. Oh, Imogen Clark came 8th in the end. Oh, how did that happen? She was second the whole way.
That's some good times there, though.
That just proves how important it is to reach into the wall, because if you don't get it right, if you don't get that finish right, you go from second to last.
We've got a few PBs.
We do, don't we? Yeah, we do.
I am Bruce.
Yeah, nice.
Candice Hall, PB.
But it's funny how they're all PBing in the sprint events, like you were saying.
Yeah, like I said, I think the sprinters are going to be the ones to look out for this meet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say 100. I would just say 50s. The 50s look like they're the ones who are on form.
I think they've just got more chance of breaking it, I guess. Because sometimes it's a bit like if you don't train for ages, you're still able to pull out a good 50.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas you do have to train for, I'd probably say 100, from 100 upwards, really. So... Right, on to the men then. So we've got 2 more races, haven't we? And that's it.
We do. 2 more races. So if anyone has any questions for us, now's the time to start posting them.
Line them up.
Oh. Of course, we will be back for the next 2 days racing as well. We aren't just doing this evening. We'll do Saturday evening and Sunday evening.
And then we have a month off for preparing for para trials, don't we?
Para trials and British trials, which we will be doing the same for both.
Yep.
And then what's after that? We talked about maybe Europeans, maybe, if they go ahead.
Well, I mean, we're quite happy doing all of them, quite frankly, aren't we?
Anything with British racing in it, yeah.
Yeah, just to promote it. So who have we got?
We've got some pedigree in this race, don't we?
Yeah, we do. There's how many? 3 S14s, 2 S5s, and a S12. So in theory, the S14s are the ones that are going to be ahead.
We got 5 international medalists.
I know. It's. I think this is where we should be praising the paraswimmers more, because these guys are the best in the world. Or, the 5 of them are. And they just don't get enough publicity, in my opinion.
Yeah, 53 for the men's later on. You haven't got 5 world champions or world medal holders.
No. And it is a shame that BBC don't do more articles on these swimmers. But that's the reason why we're here trying to do it, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's all sorts of loopholes we could go down on that one.
Yeah. I mean, it is good that BBC Sport did put one out about Ellie Chalice, which that was good. And of course, we shared that as much as possible.
So Jordan Catchpole was the fastest qualifier going into this. He was very close to a personal best. Dan got very excited earlier and thought he got a personal best.
Yeah.
Had to take the tweet down.
I got ahead of myself. I just saw 24. He's done it. No, I got it wrong. But he should be close again here. Oh, it's a close finish. Here we go.
Oh, wow. It is close.
Oh, 25-0, 25-1. Blimey. That was close.
Slower, but that was very much a first hand on the wall rather than racing speed. Again, it's something that you see a lot in 50-meter racing. The finals are usually slower than the semi-finals, because there's more pressure and you're slipping water. When you swim faster for some reason, when there's less pressure or when you're doing a heat swim.
I just think it's because your body's more relaxed. If there's more pressure and you're more uptight, you're more likely to not mess up, because that's strong, but for a better word, it just gets to you. I think mentally it gets to you as well, because your muscles are tight, and if you're more relaxed, they're lengthened out, so you're able to use them better.
So a nice win So for a nice win for Jordan Catchpole, who is fast becoming the form para GB swimmer on the male side.
On the male side, yeah, definitely
one to look out for. And now we're on to the big boys, and I'm so glad he's back in the water. I'm so glad.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him this morning, and he just looks effortless. I don't know how much effort he actually put in. I'm not quite sure. But to go 22.4?
22.4, yeah.
Looking relatively comfortable as well. But of course, you got to remember, he's gone 21.1.
That's fast.
Which is absolutely incredible.
I was going to say, I was saying to you earlier, I'd like to see him dip below the 22 mark tonight.
Possibly. I don't know about that. Maybe 22.2 or something like that. Again, we don't know where he is training cycle-wise, because his place isn't guaranteed. Although I feel like there's not many people that could challenge him.
Matt Richards set a new PB this morning.
I mean, the swimmers that will challenge him are probably the swimmers in the pool right now. So if he's going to be half a body length ahead of these guys, then I would probably say he's going to Tokyo. Yeah. But there's a lot of good talent here. We talk about Matt Richards and Jacob Whittle once before, Harry Constantine, of course, and then a swimmer from Scotland. I think he's from Stirling. Is David Cumberledge in lane 3.
Yep.
Is it Scotland? Edinburgh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And of course, Rhys Dunn in lane 8, who's a S14. That just shows how good he is, eh? Jeez.
Yeah, definitely.
So this should be a good race. I think all eyes will be on Ben Proud in the middle, but the two youngsters below him, in Matt Richards and Jacob Whittle, I think are the ones to watch as well for second and third. But
I think Ben Proud will be a country mile ahead here.
Do you reckon?
Well, I really do. I feel like for the past 2 or 3 years, he's been building up to Tokyo. Every other race has gone under the radar. He's not focused on them.
He's got the second best start in the world, I would say, behind Dressel.
Not Joe Litchfield.
I don't know. It'd be a very good race putting those two together. Let me tell you that right now. He's won by miles.
Oh, he looks so strong.
Yeah, 22.
No breath.
Yeah.
Okay, so not dipped under 22, but I did say 22 low, under 22. Yeah. I think he's on the right track. I really do, because honestly, it feels like 2 years of build-up to get his time back down.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just because, of course, he's always been in Mark Foster's shadow a little bit, I guess, hasn't he? And the fact that he's now...
When you say that, he's got the British record. He's faster than Mark Foster. But he almost feels like Mark Foster's kind of protege.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
I mean, of course, he's going to be better than Mark Foster because he's got the 4th fastest time ever. I think Mark Foster did have the world record at one stage, but Ben's times they're quicker, aren't they? They are. Yeah. Reece Dunn did a good job down in lane 8 there as well. 24.4. Wow.
What category did you say he is?
S14, I believe.
I believe that's a British record.
Oh, is it actually?
I think so.
I think he's S14. I believe so. Yeah.
I think that is a British record. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so that is the racing done for today. We will obviously be back commentating and giving our live opinions and live reactions tomorrow for the racing that's happening in tomorrow evening. And Dan will be live tweeting in the morning as well. And I'll be giving him a bit of help, hopefully. But we do have a few questions to answer, Dan.
Okay. I mean, I can't see them at the moment. So you fire away. What are they?
Fire away. Tom Dean, very slow time. He's in heavy training, but why is his stroke not looking good? Surely that wouldn't be affected.
It depends how you want to look at it, because his first 100 actually looks pretty decent. And of course, because he's got the most energy at the very beginning, obviously, his stroke, his technique looks quite good. He's adopted the gallop stroke. And because he's in hard training, that's the reason why his muscles are fatiguing, and then he can't hold that same stroke
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Why he put in such a slow time, I'm not sure, because last month he actually looked pretty good. But maybe we could sort of mention that he's maybe targeting the 200, so he took it out hard and then purposely fatiguing himself towards the end of the 400.
Yeah, maybe he saw the competition at the 200 free at the Manchester meet, because Joe Litchfield posted a 147 kind of out of nowhere. Matt Richards has a PB of a 147. So it's really going to take a 147 and below to make the team, which is good going. That's fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so maybe he has kind of, it's not frightened him, but maybe that's really heightened his focus towards the 200 to make that relay team.
Yeah. I mean, if you know that, I feel like we're going to win a medal in the 4x2. And that's the team you want to go on, is that team to guarantee. It's not guaranteed, of course, but you've got a very good chance. Yeah. So I mean, you're going to target that, and of course, if you're going on that relay, then you've got a very good chance of making the individual too.
Yeah.
With Duncan Scott, ideally. So we'll see. But I think he would be in hard training because he is that distance-ish freestyler.
And then that obviously affects your back end stroke. It just doesn't look very pretty. It almost looks like you're swimming through mud.
And treacle, yeah. And it's not a very comfortable sort of thing. So, yeah. And of course, they wouldn't be tapering just yet.
No. Okay, one more before we power down. Right. Talked about earlier, race superstition. Dan, did you have any?
I did, actually, yeah.
You did? Oh, go on, hit me.
Yeah. It's boring. It's boring as hell. But
I bet it sounds weird.
Oh, yeah. Well, not, yeah, kind of. So it didn't matter which lane I was in. Let's say I was in lane 4 in the middle lane. Before the race, I would have to go round to the side of the pool, whether it's lane 8 or lane 1, to kind of wet my eyes before I put the goggles on, and then go back to the lane.
Okay.
Every race.
Why not just lean over where the...
Yeah, because I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
This is superstitious. I don't know why. So, yeah. Very strange, but of course, when you go up to the higher sort of levels, you don't do that because you've got buckets behind you. So that's the reason why.
Maybe that's why you changed it to the elite level, because you changed your superstition because there was a bucket.
Quite possibly. I don't
think you ever have time at a national final to walk all the way down to the side of the pool.
No, I think the judges and timekeepers would be like, "Where are you going? Your lane's over there. Go over there." So I told you mine was very boring. So you're a sprinter. You're probably going to have one or two, I would have thought.
Mine was more music beforehand. I'm a big music head. I always had to have the same kind of 5 songs leading up before my race. I can't remember overly them off the top of my head, but I know I had a playlist and it was 5 songs and I had to go through those before I got behind the block.
I'm pretty sure you always listen to Cinderella Man.
Yes. Yep.
Eminem.
Anything Eminem, Linkin Park, that sort of thing. That was what I listened to. Right. Yeah. Well, that just about rounds up day 1 of the British Swimming Invitational meet coverage from Propulsion Swimming. I hope you've all enjoyed it, who's stayed with us throughout. And we will be back tomorrow for more fun alternative commentary.
I know. I'm looking forward to it, actually. I haven't even looked at what's racing tomorrow, but
Oh, we'll get there.
It's all a surprise. We'll find out.
Thank you very much, everyone who joined us, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.